Join Dr. Rick on this journey. Growing up, I was surrounded by mixed messages about what it meant to be a man. On one hand, I was told to be tough, to never show weakness, and to always be the protector. On the other hand, I saw glimpses of a different kind of manhood, one that allowed for softness and emotional expression. These conflicting messages left me feeling lost and unsure of my place in the world. My culture had a very specific idea: be strong, stoic, and the provider. The men I looked up to were often depicted as pillars of strength, never faltering, never showing a hint of vulnerability. They were the breadwinners, the decision-makers, the ones who held everything together. This image was reinforced everywhere I looked, in movies, in books, and in the stories passed down through generations. But the world was changing. Sensitivity and vulnerability were becoming more acceptable. I began to see men who were not afraid to show their emotions, who were open about their struggles and willing to seek help. This was a stark contrast to the stoic ideal I'd been raised with. It was both liberating and confusing. Could I really be both strong and sensitive? Was it possible to be a provider and still embrace my emotional side? I remember feeling confused, unsure of which path to follow. The pressure to conform to traditional expectations was immense, but the desire to be true to myself was equally strong. I often found myself caught in a tug-of-war between these two opposing forces. It was a lonely and isolating experience, one that left me questioning my worth and my identity. Should I be the tough guy my community expected, or could I embrace my emotions? This question haunted me for years. I tried to fit into the mold that had been set for me, but it never felt right. I felt like I was living a lie, hiding parts of myself that were crying out to be acknowledged. The more I tried to suppress my emotions, the more they seemed to bubble up to the surface, demanding to be seen and heard. This internal struggle stayed with me for years. It affected my relationships, my self-esteem, and my overall sense of well-being. I felt like I was constantly at war with myself, trying to reconcile the different parts of my identity. It was exhausting and often left me feeling defeated, but I knew that I couldn't go on like this forever. Something had to change. It's a struggle that many men face. We are told to be one way, but we feel another. The pressure to conform to traditional notions of masculinity can be overwhelming, and the fear of being judged or rejected for showing vulnerability is very real. But the truth is, we are not alone in this struggle. There are many men out there who are grappling with the same questions and challenges. We're told to be one way, but we feel another. This disconnect can be incredibly isolating and damaging. It can lead to feelings of shame, inadequacy, and even depression. But it doesn't have to be this way. We have the power to redefine what it means to be a man, to create a new narrative that allows for a more authentic and holistic expression of our identities. This disconnect can be incredibly isolating and damaging. It can make us feel like we are living a double life, constantly hiding our true selves from the world. But the more we talk about these issues, the more we realize that we are not alone. There is strength in vulnerability, and there is power in sharing our stories. It's time to challenge these outdated norms and redefine manhood on our own terms. We need to create a space where men can be open and honest about their feelings, where they can seek support without fear of judgment. This is not about rejecting traditional masculinity entirely, but about expanding it to include a wider range of experiences and expressions. This isn't about throwing out tradition entirely. There are many aspects of traditional masculinity that are valuable and worth preserving. But we need to be willing to let go of the parts that no longer serve us, that keep us trapped in a narrow and limiting definition of what it means to be a man. It's about recognizing the parts that no longer serve us and embracing a more holistic view of what it means to be a man in today's world. It's about finding a balance between strength and vulnerability, between independence and connection. It's about being true to ourselves and supporting each other in our journeys. It's about understanding that strength comes in many forms, including vulnerability and emotional intelligence. By embracing these qualities, we can create a more inclusive and supportive environment for all men. We can build a future where men are free to be their true selves, without fear of judgment or rejection. This is my story, and I know it is the story of many others. Together we can redefine what it means to be a man, and create a world where all men can thrive. Traditional manhood often feels like a pressure cooker, constantly building up pressure with no release. Society tells men they need to be strong, to lift heavy burdens both physically and emotionally. They are expected to suppress their emotions, to hide their vulnerabilities, and to be the unwavering breadwinners of their families. This immense pressure can manifest in harmful ways: aggression, emotional detachment, and even violence. Men may find themselves lashing out in anger, feeling isolated and disconnected from those around them, or resorting to physical expressions of their frustration. The inability to ask for help becomes a silent struggle. Men often sit alone with their sadness, their heads in their hands, hesitating to reach out for support, fearing judgment or ridicule. This pressure doesn't just hurt men, it ripples outwards, affecting everyone around them. Family members worry, friends have tense conversations, and co-workers find themselves in heated discussions, all stemming from the unspoken burdens men carry. It creates distance in relationships, fosters unhealthy competition, and perpetuates harmful stereotypes. Couples argue, sports teams become overly competitive, and business meetings are filled with tension, all because of the unrealistic expectations placed on men. It's time to release the pressure valve. Men need to take a deep breath, to find moments of peace and reflection, to meditate and reconnect with their true selves. We need to create space for men to be their authentic selves, to express their emotions freely, and to engage in supportive discussions. Men should feel comfortable smiling, talking about their feelings, and journaling their thoughts without fear of judgment. It's crucial for men to seek support when they need it, whether it's through hugging a friend, attending therapy sessions, or calling a helpline. By doing so, they can break free from the pressure cooker of traditional manhood and lead healthier, more fulfilling lives. Let me tell you about Michael. Michael's journey is one that many can relate to, yet few openly discuss. Michael was raised in a traditional household where men were expected to be tough and unemotional. From a young age, he was taught that showing emotions was a sign of weakness. He excelled in sports and always put on a brave face, even when he was struggling. On the outside, he seemed to have it all together, but inside, he was fighting a silent battle. But beneath the surface, Michael felt trapped. The pressure to conform to societal expectations weighed heavily on him, creating an internal conflict that he couldn't easily resolve. He longed to connect with people on a deeper level but didn't know how. The fear of being judged or seen as weak kept him from opening up to others. One day, Michael confided in a friend about his feelings of isolation and confusion. It was a moment of vulnerability that took immense courage. His friend, who had been challenging traditional masculinity himself, listened with empathy and understanding. This friend had also struggled with the same societal pressures and knew exactly what Michael was going through. This conversation was a turning point for Michael. For the first time, he felt truly understood and accepted. It was as if a weight had been lifted off his shoulders. It helped him realize he wasn't alone, and that it was okay to seek support. Michael began to see that there were others who felt the same way, and that together, they could challenge the status quo. Michael's story is a powerful reminder that we don't have to conform to outdated expectations. We have the power to redefine what it means to be a man in today's world. We can choose to define manhood on our own terms, embracing vulnerability, empathy, and emotional intelligence. By doing so, we not only free ourselves but also pave the way for future generations to live more authentically and openly. Michael started journaling his thoughts and feelings, which helped him process his emotions. He also took up meditation, finding peace and clarity in moments of stillness. He began to engage more with his community, volunteering and participating in events that aligned with his values. This not only helped him build meaningful connections but also gave him a sense of purpose. Michael also educated himself on emotional intelligence and attended workshops to better understand and manage his emotions. This journey of self-discovery was transformative. Today, Michael is a confident and emotionally intelligent individual. He has built strong, supportive relationships and continues to inspire others to break free from the mold. His story is a testament to the power of vulnerability and the importance of challenging societal norms. By sharing his journey, Michael encourages others to embrace their true selves and live authentically. Breaking free from the mold is not easy, but it is a journey worth taking. It leads to a life of authenticity, connection, and true fulfillment. Michael's story is just one example of the many who have dared to redefine what it means to be a man. We don't choose the cultures we are born into. They shape our beliefs and values from a young age. These cultural norms often dictate what is considered masculine and feminine. But what happens when those norms are restrictive and harmful? We need to recognize the role culture plays in perpetuating harmful stereotypes. Just because something has always been done a certain way doesn't mean it's right. It's time to challenge these outdated norms and create a more equitable and inclusive society for everyone. Section 5, the mirror test. Time for some honest self-reflection. Redefining manhood starts with looking in the mirror. It's about acknowledging the ways in which we may have internalized harmful stereotypes and taking responsibility for our actions. This self-reflection can be uncomfortable, but it's essential for growth. Ask yourself, what are my beliefs about manhood? Where did those beliefs come from? Are they serving me, or are they holding me back? Section 6. Unmasking the stereotypes. Challenging the status quo with Dr. Rick. Stereotypes are dangerous. They limit our understanding of ourselves and others. It's time to challenge common stereotypes about men and women. Men can be nurturing and empathetic, and women can be assertive and ambitious. Let's break free from these limiting boxes and embrace the full spectrum of human experience. Section 7. Relationships reimagined, building healthier connections. Stereotypes about manhood don't just hurt men, they hurt everyone. They can lead to communication breakdowns, resentment, and unhealthy power dynamics in relationships. By embracing a more holistic view of manhood, we can create more fulfilling and equitable relationships. We can learn to communicate our needs effectively, to be more present and empathetic partners, and to challenge traditional gender roles in our relationships. Section 8. Rewrite your story. Embracing change and growth. Change can be daunting, but it's also incredibly liberating. It's never too late to rewrite your story. You can choose to let go of outdated beliefs and embrace a more authentic version of yourself. This journey of self-discovery is ongoing. It's about constantly questioning, learning, and evolving. Section 9. Level up, a call to action. This isn't just about men, it's about all of us. It's about creating a world where everyone feels seen, heard, and valued for who they are. Let's challenge outdated norms, celebrate our differences, and create a more just and equitable world for all. For more videos like this, visit Dr. Rick at www.breakingchaosbuildingclarity.com.